Hey guys, it's SSLP here, and welcome to my tutorial video of which DLC you should get for EU4. So before I get on with it, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and like, and if you don't like the video, hit the dislike button. And comment below with any and all comments will be much appreciated, and I'll try and reply to everyone who comments. So you may have looked at all the expansion packs that there are in the game on Steam, and you don't know which ones to pick out from, specifically with the price tag of all of them almost at £300 or the converted price on your currency. I'm going to attempt to break down positive parts of each DLC so that you know which ones you should really buy. Before continue, you should note that each DLC comes with its own pet and a bunch of free content features too. So I'll just be specifically focusing on the paid feature of each DLC. And in addition, this video also focuses on the free immersion packs that are not exactly DLCs, but they do bring in extra features as well. So in no particular order, we will focus on the DLCs that you should purchase. First of all, we will start with the Art of War, the 4th expansion pack released in 2014. Art of War is probably the best DLC that you should get, and the reason is it focuses on quite a lot of features that are still in the game today, including the 30 Years' War, which is the religious war between Protestant and Catholic in the HRE. It also has sortie from sieges, give objectives to allies and subjects, which is a massive help, especially in a war that you will not decisively win, or want to quickly end, or have multiple wars to focus on. And if that's not good enough, then there's also the subject CBs, which is immensely powerful, and war reps, and you can also give up claims in a peace deal, which gives a huge boost to your empire to grow in terms of land, money, and give up claims on your own land or any other land such as your allies or even your next target. In addition, you can also build an army from a custom template in one click, which saves a huge time when building up a new army or a replacement army that you just got destroyed. So, all in all, Art of War is definitely a DLC you should buy. The next DLC is Common Sense, which is the 6th expansion released in 2015. Again, similar to Art of War, the features in Common Sense are still used in the current patch, and these include the extra subject interactions, example placating vassals, adopting cultures, sending colonial nations to war in the colony regions, government ranks and Protestant religion giving church power, which gives positive modifiers that can be changed and removed at your own leisure, and the return courts to other nations through peace deals. Lastly, the HRE has the power to give free city status to any OPMs, the one province miners. Common Sense is really probably the second expansion that you should have in your list to purchase, mostly because of the return chords and extra subject interactions. Moving to the 8th expansion pack, Mare Nostrum, brings some awesome features in addition to some great features, but we'll be focusing on the better features rather than not. Naval missions such as hunt, evasion, blockade, and intercept, promoting mercantilism, renting condottieri, unconditional surrender, and they detach/repair ships. Although promoting mercantilism is a positive thing, it's only done once you have too many diplomatic monarch points to spend on, and even then you should probably develop your land. But if not, you can always promote mercantilism for a measly 100 diplo power. Renting condottieri is a nice way to weaken your enemies by renting your troops out to a war that they're involved in, but also for extra money. Naval missions can be useful. Again, it's not really utilized well. And the detached repair ship option is really awesome, as it can detach damaged ships from your fleet, send it to the port, and then it can rejoin your fleet automatically no matter where they are. Again, less micromanagement there, and it could definitely improve your playstyle. We'll go on to Cradle of Civilization, which is the 11th expansion pack released in 2017. And this expansion pack primarily focuses on the Middle East region, including the Egyptian, Persian, Turkish, and the Tribal Federation of Arabia. The expansion pack doesn't really bring out a lot of good features, but it does bring out some really interesting and useful features that one can utilize. Example, army professionalism, converting subject provinces to their state religion, and the trade policy within the trade node that your merchants are currently in. In addition, if you play an Islamic nation, you can have access to Islamic schools, which could give you unique perks to that disciples, such as -10% development cost, -10% aggressive expansion impact, some shock damage, and also increased yearly legitimacy, devotion, tribal federation, and etc., depending on which of the 7 schools you pick. In addition, you can also exploit development for a short game rewards. but that is something you don't really want to do unless it's a last choice. Again, Civilization, Cradle of Civilization isn't an expansion of many paid features, but the army professionalism, trade policies, and the convert subject province to their state religion is definitely a useful feature to help your empire grow. Next on the list is Emperor. Emperor is the most recent DLC as launched, as this video is being released onto YouTube, and it will feature specifically on this video because of its revamped Catholic religion and HRE system. The expansion brings up 20 new mission trees for a European nation, revamps the whole revolution system. Emperor also brings a new powerful pope system where they can appoint cardinals, publish papal bulls and other titles, and a whole new Holy Roman Empire system, including imperial incidents, would challenge the emperor's power and authority, and a change to the empire if it would follow a centralized monarchy or a decentralized federation. Emperor also brings out a cool feature called Provoking Rebellion, which at a cost of 50% more powerful. For example, if a rebellion stack is 4,000 and you have no idea when it will fire, a click of this button, you can make it 6,000, a 50% increase, and fire instantly, which is a short-term game, so you don't have to wait forever for that stack to fire. So there's not many like paid features within Emperor, but it's definitely a DLC you want to get, as most of your playthroughs will focus on Europe, or will feature Europe in any way or form. We'll go on to the only immersion pack on this side of the video, and it's the second immersion pack called Britannia. It doesn't really bring a lot of features in the pack. We'll be focused on 3 of those features, and these features are quite useful for any playthrough. So the Industrial Revolution, as you know, commenced around the height of the British Empire, brings out coal, which in essence brings out high productivity and wealth. The second is naval doctrine, and these are bonuses to your naval fleet, such as increased chance to capture ships, increased trade power, increased galley compatibility, and a decrease in naval maintenance costs. And in addition, the British culture group and the Iberian culture group gain an additional option as well. The knowledge sharing part is a huge factor in helping out your allies' research institutions for a percentage of their monthly income, which can be huge in an area where the institution did not fire, so you developed your land to gain this institution. But also, if you're isolated and weaker than your enemies, this can be quite huge in having a slight buff. The biggest factor of this immersion pack is literally the knowledge sharing, and I definitely recommend you get the pack. Next off, we'll be looking at Rights of Man, the 9th expansion of the series, and it brings out quite a lot of useful paid features. To start off with, military leaders can gain traits after each battle. This is not just generals but also admirals too, such as movement speed, siege speed, shock damage, and many more. You can also set military instructions for your subject nations to follow, such as attack, attach, siege, or do nothing, but they will only do this if they're loyal and if they're not threatened by a large army stack nearby. Some other features include fetish religion can choose from a number of cults, and Coptic nations will get modifiers if any of their 5 holy sites are controlled by another Coptic nation, or your Coptic nation. Another cool feature is that, and one that is still used today, is a great power status. This gives extra bonuses to 8 powerful nations in the world, which include power projection, decrease to prestige decay, minus 10% institution embracement cost, and a +5 to maximum absolutism, in addition to other features like taking foreign debt, influence a nation, intervening wars where there's another great power involved, and breaking an alliance option that would force a nation to break its alliance with another nation. Lastly, Rights of Man also introduced a special Prussian government type, which is unique to Prussia, and gives a major advantage to their military power income, such +3 monarch military skills to every single monarch afterwards, -2 to national unrest, +10 to maximum absolutism, and many more modifiers. Who does not want this DLC, especially if you're going to play the most militaristic nation in the game? Moving forward, we'll go to the Cossacks, the 7th expansion in the series. And this brings a lot of paid features, but it primarily focuses on horde nations, such as such as Horde Unity and Raisin, introduce Integrity as a synthetic faith. But it also brings two features that are used today and provide some really good benefits, and these include threatening war for a province. This isn't something most people use, but it's something that everyone should utilize well, and it allows you to threaten for a province without having to go to war, which is useful if you're trying to focus on bigger wars and you just want to slowly grow your empire here and there. The other one is a diplomatic feature called Favors, Trust, and Province of Interest. Favors are used to call in allies into war, but you can also gain favors over time, and also by joining an allies' war and doing some sieging, some attacks, and anything like that. And also, the trust factor is how much a country trusts you. Province of Interest allows you to set land that you want or slash interested in, and during your war, your allies will transfer that land over to you. Lastly, if you're a colonizer, there is a thing called native policies, which you get if you choose exploration as an idea group, and this could be an additional globe settler increase to no native uprising or just a middle ground balance. The last DLC on this list will be Mandates of Heaven, the 10th expansion. This expansion primarily focuses on the region of China and its neighboring states. The first feature is the Chinese Empire, which brings a new mechanic for Ming China, tributaries which force your neighbors to pay tribute in either gold, manpower, or one of the 3 monarch points of your choosing, Manchu banners which are stronger cavalry type units for the Manchurian states, northeast of Ming China. In addition, daimyos are now loyal to the shogun, and they have new features like submitting loyalty or committing seppuku. Going away from the Asian regions, the DLC brings a new diplomatic macro builder, which you can easily see nations that want to ally you or marry you and other diplomatic actions. It also brings prosperity, which the more prosperity you have, the more positive modifiers you get, and vice versa for negative prosperity. Lastly, and probably the biggest feature of Mandate of Heaven, is the historic ages and golden eras. These bring out temporary modifiers to an age once you gain enough splendor. To some countries have an additional modifiers that they can gain depending on the eras. These eras end once the new era is about to begin, usually within 10 years of a certain date. And the golden era is an additional temporary bonus that lasts for 50 years, which includes minus 10% power cost, plus 10% morale of armies, and many more. But you need to complete at least 3 objectives in that age, and the golden era can only be done once per playthrough. So, these are my top 8 DLCs and 1 immersion pack that you should definitely purchase. Now, we have reached the middle of the video, and I'd like to remind you, if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe and click like. And if you're not enjoying the video, please leave a dislike, and any comments below will be read and answered. And this will give me a clear indication whether or not I should still create a tutorial video like this for EU4 or for other games as well. So, similarly to the first part of the video, the next DLCs and immersion packs that will follow are in no particular order, and really only get if they're on sale. Let's start off with the third immersion pack, Golden Century, released in 2018. This immersion pack primarily focuses on the Iberian region and the North African Berber states. And the best thing about this expansion is the flagships, which are a powerful ship with up to 3 selected modifiers of your choosing to boost either your fleet power or your trade power. And the good thing about this is that you can also capture other nations' flagships, especially because you can only have 1 flagship per nation. So you can have up to, if you capture those ships, you can have 10, you can have 20, you can have 30, you can have how many there are. Obviously, with that naval doctrine, it can boost it higher. In addition, naval barges can help besiege coastal forts by bombarding the walls. This is really it. I mean, there's not other things about the immersion packs. It does focus a lot on Iberian and the Berber states, but it's not really worth your time if you're not really playing these countries. The next stop is the first immersion pack, Third Rome, which was released in 2017. And simply, it's probably worse than Rule Britannia and Golden Century. This immersion pack really only focuses on the Russian region and any nations that follow the Orthodox faith. The biggest feature of this pack is the Siberian frontier, which is only given to Russia as an idea, but you can also get it as a custom nation, but for a hefty price. As an Orthodox nation, you can select an icon for your Orthodox church, which gives you a 10-year bonus, and the bonus depends on the icon that you choose. In addition to an Orthodox nation, you can also consecrate a metropolitan to add authority to the church, but for a cost. And lastly, Streltsy, which is a special Russian soldier in combat, but raises the cost of stabilizing your nation. Dharma is the 12th expansion of the EU4, and it specifically focuses on the subcontinent of India. These DLCs bring new mission trees for Indian nations, and it also introduces and revamps the trade companies, which you can invest and upgrade provinces to bring bonuses to that trade region. It also introduces charter companies for European nations who wants to set a foot in India. And probably the biggest feature of the Dharma is the upgrade trade centers, which you can upgrade them from level 1 to level 2 and level 2 to level 3 at a cost of money, which each bring out more modifiers such as more trade power to minus 10% development cost and others too. So if you want to focus on colonizing in India, increase trade power around the Indian region, or planning to play in India, then you should get the DLC. If not, it's definitely not for you. The next stop is El Dorado, which is the 5th expansion. El Dorado really isn't a great DLC, and the only good thing about it brings the possibilities of creating custom nations, which may or may not have been added as a free feature recent patches. Another feature is the hunt for the 7 cities of gold with conquistadors. Again, you'd have to take the exploration ideas. And gold fleets returning from the New World. Again, if you're not expanding within America or South America, then it's really not that can bring you. It also brings the new religion of Nahal, Inti, and Mayan religion. In addition, introduces the Treaty of Tordesillas, which, after creating a colonial nation in a colonial region, you have the claim to that region, and any other nation who colonized there will have a negative opinion of the Pope, and if it's a Catholic nation, will get a massive negative opinion with the Pope and the country who claimed that region. So, if you're not focused on colonizing or playing within the Mexican region, this DLC is not for you. Next, we'll follow on to Wealth of Nations, which is the 2nd expansion, and to be quite honest, this expansion is probably the second worst of the game. And the reason is because it really doesn't introduce a lot of features except for one big thing, which is the designation of a main trade capital, which you can change for a measly cost of 200 Diplo power. Also, it features a state-run pirate called Privateer to steal trade from other nations within a trade node. Hindu and Norse religions can pick deities, but with Norse being only in custom nations, and trade conflict with CB, which really is a last resort CB and no one really uses it. So again, another reason why it's one of the worst DLCs to get. Personally, I think this is the worst DLC the game has ever brought out. Res Publica focuses primarily on Dutch Republic and Merchant Republic. It introduces a special government for the Netherlands and allows merchant republics to place trading posts in each trade node to boost their trade power. It brings a new diplomatic action to elective monarchies in which you can support your heir to get on the Polish throne, as an elective monarchy is only given to Poland once they form the personal union with Lithuania. It gives a slight boost in opinion modifier, but also once the Commonwealth has been formed, can get a chance to have that heir as king on the throne, which then becomes your dynasty. The greatest feature of this DLC is you can change your monarch points priorities by which one you need the assistance by, but it reduces the other two by 1 and increases the priority by 2. But I'm not sure if this has been added as a free feature in one of the most recent patches. The last DLC in the video is the 1st expansion pack called Conquest of Paradise, and this DLC focuses on North America. It introduces new mechanics to the tribal nations of North America, which includes migration, building, native ideas, reformed government, and federation. It also introduces the option that you can play as one of your colonial nations once it's been released from the Overlord, and probably a fun feature, which again may or may not have been added as a free feature, is the random new world generator, which changes the whole new world to anything really. This could be an island, this could be a continent, this could be anything. But if you're not focused on playing in North America or as a colonizer, then this really isn't something you want, because it's just not going to bring anything to the table. We're nearing the end of the video now, so if you're enjoying the video, please subscribe and give a like, and if you dislike it, hit the dislike button, and comment below on your favorite and least favorite DLC and what kind of features you would like to see coming in a future DLC or an immersion pack. This again will allow me to see whether or not a tutorial video like this would work, and if you want to see more similar videos in the future. Now, this isn't really a DLC that has been released yet, but Leviathan is coming out, and I wanted to introduce this anyway. Leviathan brings a whole new mechanic and changes to the game. Similarly to CK2, it introduces monuments, which are a building feature to a province or region, which gives out bonuses depending on the building. It also changes the map and introduces new nations to Polynesia and Asia. Also, it revamps the whole North American tribes, which could make Conquest of Paradise obsolete, and bringing new features and adding new nations and formable nations too. One thing that the game has allowed to deteriorate is the naval aspect. And Leviathan is having a whole new naval rebalancing system going on, which could change a lot of things, including draft transportation, something people have been asking for a very long time. The last 2 points are the change to Totemism, Sikh, and Zoroastrian religion, and also new mission trees for Asian and North American nations. As this video is going out during the time of the development diaries, there may or may not be new added features coming along for Leviathan. So these are just the bigger features that I've released so far, and I wanted to add it onto the video anyway. So I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope that some of these points have helped you understand which DLC you should get. I do recommend, however, looking at various websites to see whether or not the DLC is on sale. And I'm not just talking about Steam, and it's immensely expensive, especially paid at full price. So, if any of these has helped you, you can now see which one that focus more on your style playthrough and what kind of areas you want to focus on, and the ones that are irrelevant to you. You can just leave them on the side until you see a mega sale somewhere, which happens a few times a year. So don't worry if you missed out on a sale, because it will pop back up. If you look at the list of expansions and things like that, you can also see there's content packs, music packs, and collection packs. Now these are pretty useless, but if you want them, I recommend waiting for a mega sale for them, as they don't really add anything other than artwork, music. Thank you again for watching, and I appreciate any support that is given, and I will hopefully see you next time. Ciao for now.